Hey everybody, Connor here today at etrailer.com. Today we're going to be showing you how to install and going over the etrailer XHD Tow Bar here on our 2020 Jeep Gladiator. So this is what our tow bar is going to look like attached to our towed vehicle. As you can see here, we have a nice durable powder coated finish here, which is going to help protect from rust and corrosion issues. So the etrailer tow bar is going to be a great option for your vehicle. And the reason why, it actually has some specialized features that not many other tow bars have. The first one we're going to talk about is down here at the shank or the stinger portion. Now, as you'll see later in this video, this particular tow bar has a built-in rise or drop compatible, meaning we can install the shank so the tow bar is in the rise position like it is now, or the drop position down below. Now what this does is, it basically gives you a little bit more freedom in our motor home and towed vehicle. Now we need to make sure they're within 3 inches of one another. If we're not, normally you would have to buy a high-low adapter, but that's not going to be the case for this etrailer tow bar, more than likely, because we have the built-in adjustments here for the shank. So if we work our way forward on the tow bar here, you're going to see a couple other features you might not be familiar with or have seen on other tow bars. Number one, we have these integrated clips here, which help hold our safety cables so we don't have to worry about them dragging on the ground. And the other one is going to be on the other side here. We have this metal rod. It's basically going to be similar to the safety cable clips here. It's going to be sort of a support mechanism that is going to be used to hold our electrical cable. Now, if we have a coiled connector, which we see here, we'll simply plug one side into the motorhome, one side into the towed vehicle, and then we'll take our excess coil here, and we'll simply slide it on that rod, and we can secure it here with our pin. Basically, again, even though our electrical connector is coiled, it still has the risk of dragging on the ground and causing damage. But we're not going to have that issue with the etrailer tow bar, because we have this nice metal support rod here that will help take care of our extra slack. So this now brings us to the biggest differentiating feature of the etrailer tow bar. Now I'm sure you're familiar with other tow bars and other base plate kits here. There's basically going to be 3 components for the connection. You're going to have the base plates on the vehicle, you're going to have the base plate tab that inserts inside the base plates, which then in turn connects to our tow bar. We don't have to worry about those 3 parts with our etrailer tow bar. The base plate arms, or tabs rather, are going to actually get attached to the tow bar. Therefore, we're not going to have to worry about losing these base plate arms here. We're not going to have to worry about that extra step. Everything's going to be integrated into the tow bar in the base plate kit. So when we're ready to hook up, we'll simply align our tabs here, insert it into the hole, and then twist to lock in place, and follow this up with our little bail clip here. So another great thing about our etrailer tow bar is we're going to be able to use this tow bar no matter which base plate kit we have installed on our towed vehicle. We could have the Roadmaster base plates, the Blue Ox base plates, or the Demco/etrailer base plates. We're going to be able to use this etrailer tow bar. However, I do encourage you guys to check out the product page so we can make sure that we get the adapter if needed. So another reason I really like the etrailer tow bar that's going to be specific to Demco and etrailer tow bars is we have the self-supporting arms here. Now as you can see, we aren't secured to the base plate kit on our towed vehicle, but our arms just aren't dropping to the ground. If you're familiar with other tow bars, such as those from Roadmaster and Blue Ox, when we're not hooked up, those arms are going to fall to the ground there. But the etrailer tow bar here has what is referred to as the self-supporting arms, meaning no matter which position we adjust or move them in, we don't have to worry about them falling down, potentially causing damage to the tow bar or hurting us in the process. In layman's terms, it's just a lot easier to manipulate, move, and work with. So we've talked about some of the features that set the etrailer tow bar apart. Now in addition to these, we still get some of the same great basic functions of our tow bar that other brands have, such as Roadmaster and Blue Ox. What I'm referring to is the self-centering design, meaning our arms are going to lock out when we pull forward. We don't have to worry about centering the towed vehicle directly to the motorhome. Everything's going to straighten out when we pull forward and lock into place. So in addition to the self-centering design, we also have the non-binding design I'm sure you're familiar with. And essentially what this does is it makes it a little bit easier to release the arms once locked out when we arrive at our campsite and we want to unhook our vehicle and go into town. Now normally when our arms are locked out here, if we're not on a completely level ground, it's going to be really hard to release these arms. But the non-binding design of our eTrailer tow bar is going to take away some of that stress. We're going to be able to disengage these levers here and to release our tow bar arms pretty easily, no matter if we're on a level or slightly unlevel surface. So our eTrailer XHD tow bar has a 10,500 pound weight capacity. It's going to be one of the beefier tow bars on the market and an excellent option here for our Jeep Gladiator. So once we arrive at the campsite, we're ready to unhook. It's super simple. All we do is remove the pin here, rotate the arm. We'll go ahead and do that on the other side as well. We will unhook our safety cables. And that'll bring us to one of the other features here on our eTrailer tow bar, which is the stowaway position here. All we need to do is tilt both of the arms up. We can rotate them to either side. And then we can press them down. It's going to line up some pins here to lock it in place. We can further secure our safety cables to get them out of the way. But that's it. So now that we've gone over some of the features and benefits of our tow bar, let's go ahead and jump right into that installation so we can show you how it's set up. So now we can go ahead and take our tow bar ends, install them onto the inner arms of our tow bar. For this particular setup with the HD tow bar, we're going to be using the 1/2" bolts and these washers here. Put one into the bolt, and we'll follow that up with a washer to hold that in place. Now we can go ahead and stick that onto our tow bar arm. We'll get one of our other washers ready, sort of slide that up underneath. And then we should be able to rotate it and stick our bolt the rest of the way through. However, we're going to need, most likely, to get a flathead screwdriver to move that washer up to where we need it. There we go. Now we can follow that up with our lock nut. Now we'll go ahead and snug that down. We'll be using a 19mm socket and wrench in order to snug up our hardware here. So we don't have a torque spec here that we need to tighten this down to. It's really going to be by feel. So right now is probably a good amount of tension there. We need to be able to move freely because we do need to rotate these to lock it in place. So you don't want it too tight or else it's going to hamper your ability to lock it in place, but you also don't want it too loose. So it's really by feel, but this should be perfect. We'll go ahead and repeat this process on the other side. We need to go ahead and take some measurements. The first measurement we're going to take is from the ground to the center of the trailer hitch receiver on our motorhome. For our particular application, it's going to be at 15 inches, but we're just going to use this as a reference for you guys. Now on our Gladiator, again, would encourage you to measure this for yourself, but the distance from the ground to the center of the base plate tab, which is our next measurement, that's going to be 16 inches. So right now, we're only 1 inch off level. However, our tow bar here, it has a built-in adjustment in that the shank can be installed in the rise position to provide a 1.5 inch rise, or the drop position to provide a 1.5 inch drop. Now it comes pre-installed in a drop position, and although this would still put us within the 3 inch range we need to be within, it's going to make more sense if we go ahead and flip this. So let's go ahead and do that now. It'll get us closest to our measurement, which is going to be ideal because we want the tow bar level. So in order to flip our shank around, just to make it a little bit easier to work, we just went ahead and insert it into the trailer hitch on the motorhome. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to break forward. We're going to break free this large bolt here in the front. So once we have our lock nut removed, we're going to take a hammer here. We're just going to try to hit out that bolt. And once we get it flush with the end of our plate there, we're going to need to take some sort of tool, such as an extension, and use it so we can hammer it the rest of the way out. And there we go. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove the 2 bolts here, one on either side. So once we got both of our bolts off here, we need to go ahead and slide this off, but we don't want to pull the shank out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line up the hitch pins, holes here on the motorhome. So now we can rotate it down. We should be able to drop it straight off, just like that. What we're going to do next is take out our hitch pin, take this out, flip it around, put our pin back in, and now we'll just reinstall everything in the reverse order, making sure we torque all of our fasteners the amount specified in our instructions. So now that we have all of our bolts in place, we don't have anything tightened down just quite yet, but we're going to go ahead and next we're going to hook up the arms from our tow bar to the base plate tabs on our vehicle. So now, once we have everything connected, we're going to go ahead and get in our vehicle here. We're going to pull backwards a little bit so we can lock out both of our arms. This is going to level the head here, then we can go ahead and torque everything down. Now, once we have our main bolt torqued, we can go ahead and torque the 2 bolt heads on the either side here. So now, once we have everything torqued down, the final step here is to go ahead and take our safety cables and make our connections to both the safety chain tabs on the vehicle as well as to the trailer hitch on the motorhome. And we would then plug in our electrical connector and any other thing we have to attach, such as a breakaway switch, but then we're ready to hit the road. And that's going to do it today for our look and installation of the etrailer XHD Tow Bar here on our 2020 Jeep Gladiator.